happy Friday afternoons.
No, it's happy hour on Friday.
Which is a happy time, quite frankly.
Yeah. And I'm drinking my tea. I kind of wussed out because I haven't had my workout in. So we were going to do cocktails. And with us, we have Kate from Surround Insurance.
Hi, all. I'm co-founder and COO at Surround.
And then we've got Nick.
Howdy, Chief Underwriting Officer at Rethought Insurance. And this is tequila all the way like up to here.
So this is going to be fun. This is going to be a fun combo. So how do we want to, so we typically share happy stories of the week. So let's actually do that, because I know Kate has some exciting happy story to share with our audience.
I do. We launched in Massachusetts. Yeah, that's my dance. Like if I actually get up and dance, you'll probably all close the window. So I won't do that.
Do we have a video of Elaine from Seinfeld?
No, she's coordinated compared to me, you know? But yes, we launched our first product, Surround Core, here in Massachusetts on Tuesday through our 6 large independent agent partners. Yep. So it's a combination of non-owned auto, renters, and miscellaneous professional liability. Takes 4 minutes to quote, aimed at young professionals who don't own the assets that people might have at their age in prior generations, but are still exposed to risk. And so we went live. We found a couple of totally tiny things to fix, and basically sat around waiting to see what was going to happen. And it has been an exciting week. It has been a long journey of getting reinsurance and finding an issuing carrier and building out our system, and finding great agents to work with. And there's a lot of work ahead of us, but once you get from 0 to 1, you can do anything, right? And so that's where we are.
What was the toughest part?
The toughest part? I think it was 2 things. So one thing that's really tough was just we were looking to get reinsurance and find an issuing carrier in the wake of sort of the InsurTech 1.0 companies, many of them burning up the balance sheets for the reinsurers. So the market was a lot harder for InsurTechs before the hard market actually started. We're insurance people, so that certainly helped, but it took a long time to do that. And our reinsurance partner is Swiss Re. They are fantastic. We could not have done better. We've not said that before, but they've given us the okay now that we're live. And our issuing carrier is accredited. They've got a 50-state personal lines and commercial lines license, which was also hard to find, right? If you think about both, but our product covers both. That was hard. I think the other thing is hard is just, it's gonna take you $2 million to get to market in this space. We're an MGA. You're gonna build out your systems and all of that. And so I think we spend a lot of time talking to investors who just don't get insurance, who are kind of like, but can't you take $150,000 and put an app in the app store and then we'll know? It took a while to figure that is not the right person to talk to. So we ended up with a bunch of great insurance knowledgeable investors as well. We've raised $2.5 million. Yeah, we're just getting there. So I think those are the hardest things, Great team.
Congratulations, Kate.
Thank you. Thank you.
From a product perspective.
It's really come along.
Yeah.
I remember they were, I work with them in full disclaimer as well. And I remember them like pretty much admitting like we're behind the ball. We were late to the game when it came to this InsurTech stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of other reinsurers were quicker. Mm-hmm. But man, I see them doing such wonderful things in a lot of different spheres. They devoted a lot of energy to it.
Yeah, they've got this ecosystem play where they've got some really strong people who are doing a bunch of business development and kind of like not just the specific companies you'd kind of think of as InsurTech, but sort of close to InsurTech companies or companies that have services in supporting areas. And really it's been quite impressive to sort of see. So when they come back with a vengeance, right? We're just thrilled to be working with them. Like absolutely thrilled. Couldn't have worked out better.
Yeah, you know what you get for like a victory medal by going live? What? You started policy 0.
Isn't that cool? It's like a low license plate number, right?
Like you do all of that work and it's like, oh, we got to sell our first policy.
Wait. I thought the hard part was the build, and you're telling me we need to sell stuff now? Oh, wait. Yeah.
So I can give you, like, just from my perspective now, going on year 4 of mine, it's I remember like the excitement of selling that first policy, the first few, and then that excitement comes back when those policies come up for renewal. And I have a handful of policies that we're on year 3 with those.
Nice.
They're babies. They're family. It's I would do a lot to try not to lose them.
The policy
and I'm at surplus lines. Like, I have no right to try to keep them, but it's like I tell my marketing person, I'm just like, can we offer them something else, like, just to make sure they're not even enticed to go somewhere else? Like, last year we had one account, it was like, can we offer them business interruption? I think they were asking for it on year 1. I think we're ready to give it now. And that helped us keep the account. And it's like, if we just keep ratcheting it up, they'll never leave.
They'll never leave. Yeah, we're admitted, so the rules are a little bit different, right? But we intend to take care of every one of them. It would be a little disturbing if policyholders knew how much we actually know, like, their names and their addresses, because we're like, hey, you're our earliest customers. We love you. But that's creepy, isn't it?
Well, I show pictures of mine on investor pitches and accounts. I was just working on it this week because we were talking to an admitted company, and they were trying to understand, like, how we would potentially do admitted for flood product, which is really challenging. And so I showed them, and I said, this is the first policy we ever wrote. And I said, here's why, like, we have a competitive advantage in how we quantify risk. But I'm actually showing pictures of the house, of the property. So, like, and it's like family. People. It's like, I feel like it's mine. Like,
I'm imagining like George Foreman with like his 6 sons named George, except you'll have like your actual children and then 4 pictures of houses, you know?
Yeah, this is George, George the second, this is George the third. It's like that. You know, anytime I meet someone from Columbus, Ohio, every single time, I'm like, do you know that science museum across the river from downtown? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, do you know that underground parking garage that's there? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I insure that. That's one of mine. That's one of my babies. I insure that.
And then they do what? They engage enthusiastically.
They're just like, okay, like, yeah, but Columbus. Yeah. I love Columbus.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's awesome.
We can't have that on the claim side. Even though when we did see the first claim that came in, our team was very happy, but then we quickly realized we can't be that happy because somebody just passed away.
Yeah.
But it is an awesome feeling when your system gets used for the first time. When we did have like that first claim that went through and then grew to, I think right now, our aggregate is over 10, maybe 20,000 claims have gone through our system from different carriers. And we've only been, doing this for a handful of years. So not including transactions. I think we're up to 50,000 transactions for our different service.
That's amazing.
It's such a good feeling. But now you have to build the book, but you're on to something, right? Like it's, I didn't bring you up per se, but I brought up your concept, and it's just, we're evolving into this new world. And I think it was a conversation regarding mutuals and how, mutuals and the farm bureaus are kind of stuck in the prior century.
Yeah.
Who they are and what they do. And, part of it is their fault. Part of it is that we've had this big push in technology, which has kind of changed everything in the last 20 years with the digitization and the internet. But I was bringing, like, you came to mind and surround. It's like there's an evolution of risk.
There is.
Someone that graduates from high school or graduates from school, like their life is very much different than someone who graduated from high school or graduated from college 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's a different set of expectations.
Yes.
They're much more likely to go to a big city, to become a renter for an extended period of time, which then introduces all of the risks that you talk about. What we talked about, Kate, in the
Yeah, we
podcast
did.
I interviewed you on, which is they don't own a car, but they might
But they're
need to drive
driving.
one. You
Yeah.
know, they
Yeah.
rent and they may not own for a considerable period of time. They have a
Well,
different exposure profile.
exactly. And so, property and casualty in some ways is a little bit misnamed, right? Like the property piece, they have some property, but really you're exposed to a bunch of risks that we've bundled together with various kinds of property and casualty policies. So yeah, but the mutuals and the farm bureaus, I mean, a lot of them are sitting on a lot of surplus. So they've got some ability to do what they want to do, but I think it's tough if you're, mid-sized or smaller regional mutual or farm bureau, because in order to pick up a lot of the technology that's happened, a lot of the advances in data science, you got to invest big time in systems, but also in people. And that can be a hard sell, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That wasn't going to be my happy story, but since you brought that up,
Uh,
I'll segue a little bit. I was saving this for a different time, but why not now? So I am going to be creating a new podcast around just what you just described, Kate.
I'm reading your mind.
It's called The Yellow Book Road.
Oh man.
And the idea is and I wrote this down, so I want to make sure I say this correctly. I want to bring actionable best practices from other industries that can be applied towards insurance, but it's specifically geared towards the mutuals and the farm bureaus. And it's everything you just described. It's having the right culture, having the right employees, the right skill set in-house. What do you outsource? What do you keep in-house? And I have some mutuals I've been working with recently, and it's so obvious, Kate, like wow, it's night and day between, like, not only you now competing with the State Farms of the world, but now you're competing with the hippos of the world. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
You don't, some of them do sit on a lot of surplus, but they don't know what to do, and they're paralyzed
Yeah.
by it. So I'm going to create a podcast entirely geared towards, having, like, how to lean practices, like stuff that everyone here, and probably everyone that's listening on Twitter world that's listening to this, is probably well aware of, concepts like a minimum valuable, too much.
MVP.
What is in this? An MVP.
Viable.
Yes, and lean startup, but concepts across all industries, finance, and things that we can bring in to, transition. Like, if you are sitting on some surplus, don't get locked in to the prior world. And Kate, I think a lot of it will be as well, like, they should be partnering with companies like Surround. Like, don't do it yourself. Like, make some of your surplus available to these wizards who are coming in, and just, like, they know what they're doing. They know how to put product together. These are not necessarily tech people who, no offense, Bobbie, but, like, just pure tech people who are coming in. This is like, like, there's an expertise that Benakiva is creating, that Surround is creating. And it's like, if I were in their shoes, I would just offer my surplus to them to offer it to my customers, to my policyholders. I think that's a better route to go than trying to hold it all internally.
I'm laughing a little bit because Guy Carpenter has this alliance of kind of regional companies that they bring together for different kinds of learning. If you don't know about them, let me make an introduction later. But I spoke at one of their conferences, must have been a little over a year ago. And I ran into the CEO of a mutual that's local to the New England area that's sitting on a massive amount of surplus, because I was actually just looking at some of the yellow books. So I literally said to him, I was like, you have an awful lot of surplus and you should invest in us and let us build you some new products, because you got plenty of cushion. He just looked at me like,
how'd that go over?
What? He was rather more polite than I might have been in the same situation, Poor man was running for the bathroom, and I was like, "Hey, your surplus,"
But
I
honestly,
think
like
that's such a valid point,
yeah,
Kate. Like that's it. You know, when mutual companies to me are like the most, they can be the most innovative because they
Yes.
have the they have the cash. You don't
Those,
have to build like Nick, which you said, you don't have to build everything in-house. Partner with, that's the perfect recipe. Partner with an insurtech, whether that's on the product side. You know,
Mhm.
for us, we're on the customer servicing claim side.
yeah.
Let us give you that experience that could connect ours into new product, right? New business, the retention model. We've got ideas, you've got the money. I
Well,
mean, like it just
no,
makes
Bobbie,
sense, right?
sure, the
Take it to the
surplus is
next
there,
level.
but I think the alignable interest is that that was the always has been the purpose and the mission of the mutual,
it has been,
right?
right?
And I feel like, you know, listen, I'm going to be blunt, and I've been blunt, and I'm going to try to continue to
You're
be
always blunt.
around
The
this.
tequila,
It's,
the tequila
when
kicks
I see a
in.
mutual, and I ask them, I say, if you disappeared, really, would anyone care?
Ooh, ouch.
I know, but honestly, if you're a mutual and you're selling homeowners, what differentiating factor do you bring to the table? You don't. Not anymore. You used to, but you don't anymore. So meet your mission, which
Mhm,
is you're supposed to be beholden to your policyholder owners. And
mhm,
I see a company like Hippo that's not a mutual, and
right.
I see how customer focused they are. They're
Mhm,
not perfect, but they're much more customer focused than the traditional mutual.
for
I
sure.
think at some point, if Hippo disappeared, I think there would be policyholders that would be upset.
Mhm,
Like, oh, I don't know about shed a tear, but they'd be upset. I can't say that about any mutual. I think the farm bureaus are falling into that same path. I think they have an opportunity. They've been more in the rural areas. People who own farms are by nature a bit different,
yep.
but they have different risks too. And I think the farm bureaus need to step up and say, hey, their risks are changing too. When you see tractors with smart devices on them, right, and farm fields that can measure have sensors, like
Yeah.
there are farms that are basically just like computer laboratories.
There's a
And
reason
so farm
accuracy.
bureaus need to step up
Yep.
too.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
that was not initially my happy story. My real happy story, besides the tequila, I'm from New England, that I'm drinking, is I got my 45-pound rucksack. Oh my god! Holy crap! This thing
How
is heavy. It
how's
is
it
so
going?
heavy. So I've tried to take like calls with the 45-pound pack walking around my neighborhood, and it's like, Nick, you're out of breath. Like, oh, I am. Wow, this thing actually works. It's exactly how they describe it. So if we can tag GoRuck, Bobbie, on this, I for those of you like Bobbie, you're in North Carolina, and Kate, you're in New England.
Mhm.
As you get closer to spring, you can do more outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to do some serious running yet.
Uh-huh.
I don't think my knees and ankles and my feet can handle that yet. But I do that, and I'm out of breath as
Mm.
I walk around. I think 45 might have been too much. So 20 is too light. 45 is too heavy. I think I'm going to have to buy the 30-pounder. But it is quite a thing. And so for anyone that's out there that doesn't want to run, I would recommend the Go Ruck and put
Mm.
that on and walk around with it. Start light. It's not cheap. I think my bag was like $180, but it's meant to hold a 45-pound weight. So it is exquisitely stitched, and the bag is meant for a workout as well. So I can like curl the bag and do stuff with the bag as exercise, upright rows and stuff like that. But it is a workout, and I am more than pleased with it.
Hmm. Wow. Bobbie, what's your happy Friday?
Yeah, I mean it's Nick was talking about these bags at I think in our last Happy Friday. and I pinged Brent and I said, I think it's a good team motivation to get one of these things, as prizes for the team. I think my happy story, I get to hang out with you guys. It's been, Kate, I haven't talked to you in a while. Outside of our Fit fam, that's going pretty hard and pretty strong.
Burpee month.
Nick, have you noticed we've done a plank challenge? Now we're in a burpee challenge. We're crazy, but it's fun.
I'm so envious of all of that. I can't even keep up anymore. That's how big Fit Fam is.
I know, it's like, it's growing. It keeps growing.
I go on Twitter and it's like 20 notifications and it's like, I don't know what the hell is going on here. There's so much activity. It's unbelievable.
So my happy Friday, it's going to be around fitness. We celebrated, my husband and I celebrated our 15-year anniversary on Wednesday. And part of we bought a shared gift. And if you guys heard it, you guys are going to laugh. But it's one of the Rogue CrossFit in-home gym. Basically, it's like if you go into a CrossFit and you see that metal-looking pull-up bar that has a squat rack and weights, that's what we have now in our basement. So we're going all in into our home gym, all in.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that made me happy.
Yeah, I'm jealous. My husband, I think, is out of patience with my accumulation of fitness equipment, and he said no at the squat. but he did let me screw a pull-up bar into the joists in the basement. So.
Oh, whoa!
I know.
I want to do that. I'm afraid to ask. I have one of those door ones.
Yeah.
That works really well, except that you can't close the door. So every time my wife wants to close the door, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you put this chin-up bar up again. I'm like, well, I need it. So then I'll put it on another door, and then she wants to close that one. So now it's like I can't put it up anymore. So I'm like, well, maybe if I put in a screw here, I have handles I can hook on, but now I'm afraid to ask.
You can actually just get one, and it screws into or bolts in, I guess, into the joist, and sort of it kind of comes out a bit so that you're not banging your head on the joist. I don't know. You could probably weigh in better than I can on how good that is for the structural stability of your house, but
No, I'm just afraid to screw stuff into the wall. It's like, did I really hit the joist? Like, did I really get it good? Or am I going to be like doing a pull up and like falling over?
I'll fall backwards. Yeah. That would not be super good. Yeah. Yeah.
That's my fear too. Like I do the banded, just, I'm not there, but I'm still warming. I used to be able to do it in my gym because I knew exactly the space and the setup, but in our area, cause it's our basement, it's small, right?
Yeah.
So it's trying to figure out and getting everyday confidence to say, okay, I don't think I'm going to fall backwards and hit my head on a spin bike.
Yeah.
All these worst case scenarios we think about.
Yeah, no, for sure. So on the topic of spin bikes, I have to tell you this because it's just the coolest thing ever. So I did my first immersive cycling class this week, which is not truly immersive because I don't have the technology for that. But on my tablet, I did this like immersive class that's like you can't really call it virtual reality because there's no headset and it's not 3D, but it feels real, like real enough that like I came over the crest of this hill and started going down and like literally screamed. My husband was like, what's wrong? I was like, it's a really steep hill. It's so cool though. It's like the best workout ever.
Largely
just on a tablet.
Yeah. It's a streaming class. It's a streaming subscription that I have to like an online fitness service that has like a whole lot of.
It's okay. So they have
Les Mills on Demand. Yeah, the Trip is the name of it. And so it's like this computer created world. Some of the classes are sort of fairly realistic, and some of them you're like in space driving through planets and whatever. But it is super cool. So I highly recommend that if you get a spin bike.
Wow.
Yeah. I know Nigel posted something like the Ultra Challenge in May that he's doing, that Ultra Cycle Challenge. And I'm doing it on my spin bike. And I just was thinking, I was like, how many miles is that And he
How many is it?
said, what was it? 100, 120? Somewhere,
Miles?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever spent that
Feet?
much.
That's a lot.
8 miles?
100.
Sorry.
What was it? They just postponed the May challenge. Yep, Ultra Cycle Challenge. 155 miles. I think I'm going to do it.
Good for you.
Do it.
And like,
Absolutely.
that's a lot. Like if you're out in like the country riding on rolling roads, it's still a lot, but like on a spin
Oh, I
bike,
can't ride a real bike.
No?
It's been like since I was 10 since I've done that.
the streamers
I'll do
the
it on my
bikes, right?
I'll do it on my Nordic track spin bike. I'll
Good
take
for
breaks.
you. Oh, good for you. Wow. The InsureTech Fit fam. It's a good place to be.
If you're not on it, follow us. We're on this Fit fam and we'll add you to, we'll just tag you to it.
Fam.
Fit fam. You too can do burpees with us. Well, not actually with us, but you know, in spirit.
We're on round number 25 for the day.
Burpees are horrible.
Yeah, I skipped yesterday, but I'm doing them today.
Good for you.
I'm willing to do it, but I need to make sure like I can do the other stuff. If I can't do the other stuff, it's like another thing I have to worry about. I
Yeah.
can't.
I just incorporate it into the warm up. So like in my program, there's like a warm up sequence and then you get into the workout. And the warm up sequence, I just incorporate it into that. So it doesn't feel like an extra thing.
Smart. I saw the pictures that you posted and it's like, you can really see the difference, Bobbie. Like it's amazing. You look so good. It's amazing. You can see the effort paying off. That must feel awesome.
He's an inspiration to all of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have to keep each other accountable, right? Or else
Yeah.
it's so easy to do it and then fall back into old habits.
Yeah. This
So
is our
when
12
we all
step.
get
Hi, I'm Nick, and I have some glazed donuts over in the other room
and some tequila.
and some tequila. I did have a glazed donut today. When someone shows up with Krispy Kreme, how do you say no?
You don't.
You don't. You
Try
just
to
eat
stop
it.
yourself from eating more
So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's just, I've got to take another extra lap or something.
Well, here's the thing then. So the InsureTech Connect reminder emails came out. What's going to happen is that we're all going to get vaccinated in plenty of time, right? Two vaccines or one shot if the other one gets approved. It's going to continue to be that the vaccines prevent severe disease. We're all going to be able to go to InsureTech Connect, and then we're going to have workouts at like 4:30 in the morning before the conference. It's going to be great.
So what you're saying is that we're going to go from whatever evening events we were working on to the workouts.
Straight to the
That's
gym.
what I'm hearing.
Straight to
Like
the
a
workout.
drunk workout.
You can nap
And then we'll go to sleep.
and you can sleep for the rest of your life, but like we have business to take care of at ITC. Just so you all know.
Bobbie, what would you think about having what we're doing here in like a clubhouse type atmosphere? Like just every Friday afternoon, happy hour Friday.
Like in the clubhouse, like the app, right?
I guess, but I'm sure we could do that with Zoom somehow, and people can just bounce in and out as they see fit. Is it possible?
Are you part of Clubhouse, Kate?
No, I need somebody cool to send me an invitation.
I have an extra one.
I did it. I don't get it.
We need to experiment. I don't get it either.
It's just Zoom, but like on audio, and you can just show up and like go in and go out as you please.
But how do you contribute outside of just raising your hand?
You have to talk over somebody.
Really? Like
Yeah.
I thought you have to raise your hand. You can't. I think some of the groups I've been going in.
And I just started talking, and I waited till someone ended, and then I talked.
Huh.
I don't know.
It's like I feel like it's like a audio conference. It's an audio conference, right?
Yeah.
A lot of content.
Like some famous people are doing it, and they're kind of like bumping up the the value of it, but I don't get it. Like, I would rather have it Zoom-like, where it's video and you could see people, but still allow people to like bounce in and out as they see fit. I don't know.
Let's do it. It's
Do it.
live.
Let's
We can
open
just
it up.
put in our link.
Okay.
Yeah.
I note that you went from working out at 4:30 in the morning at ITC straight to happy hours on Friday. I just want you to know that I saw you do that.
There's a challenge, Kate. So with both Nick and Brent, they're in order to hang with someone like me, probably someone like you, no more 10 o'clock at night bed. Yeah,
I don't know. Oh my God, that's so hard. I go
and
to
they
bed
negotiated with me to say,
now.
okay, 10:30. And I'm like, are you serious? That's when it starts.
Yep.
When we're together, I mean, that's
if we do ITC and I pace myself during the day.
Yeah.
I know I can sleep in the next morning. I might be able to do it.
So wait a minute. ITC is only 3 days. First of all, why do you need to sleep? And second of all, just don't book the 7 a.m. flight out of Vegas that Thursday, right? I mean, this isn't that hard, right?
But so if I don't get that first night of sleep, I'm dead like the next 2 days. So somehow I need to get sleep, even if that's like 2 p.m., right? And I just go back to my hotel room and just like nap. But I got to get some sleep, or else I'm a zombie and I can't take responsibility for the things I may do.
I'm like, in my head, I'm like, the things you might do, like talk at length about like the surplus of mutuals, or, you know, analyze FAQ aloud. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to watch.
You should do this there.
We should. We drive everybody away, but we would all have fun.
At one of the
Connect,
bars.
we're tagging you. You've got 3 plus Brent, 4 dedicated hosts. We'll just have happy hour conversations.
Fireside chat with tequila instead of a fire.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And it's ongoing. We could just do as many fireside chats.
We could have a webcam.
Because really what everybody wants is to hear the stream of consciousness that comes out of my brain. My poor co-founder has not gotten rid of me yet, and he listens to this all day long. I don't know if normal people can stand it.
She's crazy because I think I can hear her speak all day. Because every time you say something, I learn so much from you.
Oh, no.
Same with you, Nick. I can listen to you guys.
I absolutely could. Every time I talk to Kate, it's just like, oh my God, like I could discuss this topic or that topic and get more in depth and, clarify some of the fogginess in my head. Kate could clearly do that.
And learn, right? Like especially for insurtechs,
Absolutely.
Folks like me that know the operations end side of the house, but don't know the MGA, the new business, even the PNC side of the house. That's a lot of wealth of knowledge that you have. And you've given me some good resources that, I told Nick or I told Kate that I'm going to ramp up my knowledge, because I think once you know some of the knowledge, then you can figure out really good applications to it.
Well, the part of the bigger thing, Bobbie, is having been in this, I'll bump into a particular topic. And someone will say, I'll say, hey, have we ever thought about maybe we could help, we could solve this problem with a captive insurer? And someone will say, well, I'm not sure a captive has the authority to do that. And I'd be like, but do we know that? Right? And there's 5 people in the world that know the answer to that. And that's the thing with our industry, with insurance, is that there are so many different ways to skin a cat. You see a lot more progression in fintech.
Yes.
Because the people on Wall Street and people in finance have not been shy about trying to push the envelope about hey, how do we package this shit up to sell it to people that don't need it or whatever. we've been very risk averse
Yeah.
in that. And I asked someone the other day, I said, is there anything that prevents a mutual from doing X, Y, and Z? Right. And they were just like, no, I don't think so. And I'm just like, well, why aren't they doing it then?
Because they haven't.
Because they haven't. Nobody knows why.
Yeah.
But there's nothing preventing them from doing that. And they're like, holy shit, they should do that. Like, they should really do that.
Yeah.
We run into that all the time, Bobbie. And this is people that like know a whole bunch of stuff because we come in and like we've been in our silos for so long.
Yes.
We might know the answer, but we're just like, oh, I don't think anyone's very interested in knowing what I know.
Right.
But in fact, I'm very interested in knowing what Kate knows.
I want to know both of you guys know. Well, the thing is, there's so much room for creativity in our industry, right? But it has to be a creativity that's based on knowledge, because this is a complex, highly complex, regulated business with a very complicated value chain, right? And so stepping out of the carrier space into the insurtech space enables these conversations. Like the three of us would never be talking if I was still in my carrier job, right? Which was a great job, but I'd be talking internally to a bunch of people and like pushing politics, So like you get on like the edge or like into a small organization where you're moving and changing and trying to do things. And you just like the knowledge that you gain so fast is just amazing. Right. And that's when you start saying, well, why can't we do this? Right. We can, or somebody can, right? It's
I was listening to the podcast. I think it's called My First Million. And it's a bunch of tech folks that kind of talk about, how different businesses like got up and running, how they did it and stuff like that. And one of the guys was talking about how he was I think he was like the CEO of Gab, a social media platform that I think got sold to AOL or something. Mm-hmm. And he was saying how he asked his engineers, like, hey, we're having this problem. Can you figure out a technical solution to do X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
And he said that like there was a room full of software engineers, and like after a couple of weeks, no one came up with a solution, but this young, know nothing of like 24-year-old software engineer was like, hey, has anyone thought that if we cached this thing, and I'm Bobbie, I'm talking like all technical gibberish, we cache this thing to the RAM and blah, 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 that would solve it. And the other engineers were like, well, yeah, if you wanted to go that route, that could solve it. And the guy was just like, exactly, like, that's what I asked for. That's exactly what it's like in insurance.
Yeah.
It's like, we got this problem and no one asks, like, has anyone ever asked the regulator if we could do this? No? Well, how do you know we can't do it?
It turns out you can call them up and they do pick up their phones.
Like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Regulator, I got this idea. We are definitively aware of, redlining laws and stuff like this. So what we were thinking was we wanted to offer this coverage and do it in this particular way. The challenge has always been that this data hasn't existed, but we think we've found a way around that to be able to offer this coverage. What do you think? And then just like, we don't see a problem with that. Oh my God. And the whole industry is like, oh, the regulators will never let you do that. Have you asked?
Right.
No?
And have you read the statutes and the regulations as well? Because even if they say no, then the next step is, wait, where's the statutory authority for that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And Kate, in our industry, all of that information is so siloed that when it comes to the regulatory stuff, I know enough to truly get myself into trouble. So I would never rely on myself. I would always go out to outsource it or to go to someone and just say, hey, how would we go about trying to do this? Right? Yeah. Let's, can you get a regulator on a phone? Can we have a discussion? Because I think this is part of like that lean startup. Like let's figure out for sure. But if we can do this, if the regulator would actually allow us, and this fits with the statutes, why aren't we doing this? This is a better way to do it.
Exactly. And on that note of like regulatory excitement, I promised my daughter a pizza from Domino's that I ordered in advance. And our happy hour, as it always does, has become like a happy hour and a half. And I do keep my promises. So
it has been.
I have a double pepperoni.
How about this? Kate. let's compromise here.
Okay.
Why don't we keep going? Call the pizza, and then just bring your daughter into the screen, and we'll just keep. She needs to know about yellow books.
She's 7, and she has some things to tell you as well, I think, because that's usually how this goes.
I have a 4.5-year-old. He always has things to tell me.
I'm sure. I am sure. Unfortunately, though, I'm cheap and I refuse to pay for delivery or to pay to tip the delivery people.
Wait, did you say Papagino's?
No, I wish Papagino's. Gosh, no, Domino's, which happens to be half a mile from my house. I live literally across from a horse farm. Like, we're way out in the country, but there's a Domino's like half a mile from the house. And so, yeah, and I won't pay like the $3 extra for delivery. So we're going to get in the car and pick up that pizza I ordered for 5:30.
Okay. Well, Bobbie's never heard of Papagino's, I'm sure. But Papagino's is like New England pizza, and it's awesome.
It is. At least if you grew up on it, you think it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Is it like when people say you have to have Chicago pizza, it's better? When you go to Boston, you have to have Papagino's.
The first wave of that, like that thin pizza that
like
was really soft.
I'm sold. I don't really like the thick crust. I'm all about the thin.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I am offering an utterly mediocre Domino's pizza that will delight a 7-year-old. And sometimes you got to pander to your target market.
Kate, when I come up to New England, we're going to go get some Papagino's.
Oh, for sure. And then we're going to talk insurance until like we drive the people around us away because they can't stand listening to it.
You know what? If you want, you and I can drive to North Andover and we'll have it at the Papagino's there.
That would be fantastic. It hits.
Go Knights.
Exactly. Yay, Scarlet Knights. All right. It has been a pleasure, as always, talking to both of you. And Bobbie, thank you for setting this up and for reaching out.
Absolutely. Until next time, everyone. Happy Friday.